John.
Hi, PK. Good evening.
Yeah, nice to have you on Regal Unlimited Live uh, today. John is based in Bengaluru. John is a renowned coach, mentor. Happy to have you here today, John.
Thank you, PK.
See, coming to the discussion today, coaching well for commercial success. What's your take on that, John? How do you know you are coaching well?
Yeah. So the question that you asked was the relevance of coaching to success.
Yeah.
And by that, what you mean is that if you have to be a commercially successful coach, what is required for you to, in terms of your own coaching skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
The example that comes to my mind, and for want of a better example, and maybe you might even accuse me of bias, but I'm thinking of a product like Apple's product, like the iPhone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People love it or hate it in equal measure. Now, if Apple had not made the product as good as they had, in fact, I've also heard that even the internals of the product, if you open it up, is absolutely brilliantly designed, which means the product is beautiful. It's not that marketing, Apple doesn't do any marketing. Apple does a lot of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is that the product has to have value in itself, which means as a coach, if you are not providing value to your clients, embodying all the competencies and bringing everything that you can bear into a coaching conversation, then all the marketing that you do in terms of commercial success is going to fall flat. So, in many ways, it's a necessary condition for commercial success. It may not be a sufficient condition.
Mm. It's not a sufficient, it's a necessary condition.
It is a necessary condition, but may not be sufficient for commercial success.
May not be sufficient for commercial success. But when you say that, John, how would one know that one is coaching well or mastery in coaching? We always talk about mastery
Yeah,
in coaching for commercial success. So how do one know that I am in that range?
yeah. So I'm going to give you two different examples, okay,
Mm-hmm.
from my own personal life, and those examples are not related to coaching. So,
Okay.
so hear me out, if you will. The first has to do with my golf, right?
Okay.
I've been playing golf for 35 years.
Mm.
In the last 2 years, I engaged with a coach, Rahul,
Mm-hmm.
and although I was playing at a good level, working with him over the last 2 years has actually made my golfing skills worse because I had to unlearn a lot of bad things that I had acquired in the last 35 years.
Mm. Mm.
But in the last few weeks, I'm seeing the benefits of working with him for 2 years now. And today,
Interesting.
I feel confident that I have now turned the corner for the better. So that's one
Mm-hmm.
example I want to share.
Mm. Mm.
And even though I thought I was a good golfer, when I worked with him, I realized I was not a good golfer. I was a pathetic golfer. The second example has to do with fitness. So I recently went to a physiotherapist, a sports
Mm-hmm.
physiotherapist, because I had this
Mm-hmm.
shoulder pain that I'd been nursing for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even though I've been working on my physical fitness and doing my stretches and all of that, I still realize there are so many things that I was not doing, which she has started helping me.
Okay. Mm.
And I would never have known that if I tried to do everything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the answer to your question lies in the fact that perhaps somebody needs to look at or evaluate how you are coaching for you to know where you stand
Mm.
as far as your coaching is concerned.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
many times we think we are doing something right, but we might go completely sideways because we might acquire some bad habits that may not stand us in good stead in our coaching journey.
Interesting. Interesting. So, over a period, there is a tendency to go sideways, though we may think we are going forward.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm.
And the thing, PK, this is very interesting. You can even be a commercially successful coach,
Ah, ah.
right? But your coaching may still be, you know, perhaps being more mentoring than less coaching. And especially in the Indian context, all our clients want us to give them solutions. They want ready-made answers.
Hmm.
And sometimes we think that is coaching. Yeah. So that danger is also there. That's the other danger. So you can be commercially successful, but you might not be a good coach.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that is giving some insights to that. But interesting thing that you mentioned was that when you are evaluated or when you are seen by another pair of eyes, probably certain things come up.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact,
Hmm.
to give you an example, PK, even the fact that I was not pronating my wrist at impact
Uh-huh.
or supinating my wrist, a simple thing like that, very, very minor, was causing a huge difference to my golf swing, which only a coach could catch.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll give an example. In coaching, when I have been mentoring coaches, for example,
Mm-hmm.
many of them are not being, for example, when a client is sharing something difficult, is not being very empathetic. If you look at marker 4.1 or 4.2,
Yep.
or
Yep.
not acknowledging them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or many people struggle with respect to noticing, they might notice energy shifts, but they don't know what to do with that.
Ah.
So those are some of the things that little things that somebody can actually help a budding coach to find out and align that with the ICF coaching competencies.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting that once we are certified, either ACC, PCC, or even MCC, and when we are on our own journey, possibly where do you get that another pair of eyes, and what are the opportunities that a practicing coach has to get that calibrated? I mean,
Yeah, so that's a good question, PK. So even if you look at the current framework that ICF operates,
mm-hmm.
that after your credential, you still need those 40 CCUs,
Ah,
right? And therefore, there is this continuous need that coaches need to do to keep themselves abreast and updated.
mm-hmm.
And the fact that ICF pays so much of attention to that is something for us coaches to realize that, hey, we should pay attention to that ourselves. So, learning more about our craft, for example, taking help from either a coach mentor or a coach supervisor,
Yep, yep.
right? Um, Attending those relevant webinars that can help us improve our skills, right?
Mhm.
Are some of the things that we can, do to find out where we are.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting that we have few opportunities to do that in terms of coach mentoring. Even without a requirement, you can just get mentored as you go along, maybe as a
Yes,
discipline
yes,
over a period of time after
yes,
certification, or coaching supervision, which is
yes,
catching
yes.
prominence nowadays, and webinars. Yes, ICF conducts a lot of webinars in that sense
Correct.
on particular competencies. But if one talks about a particular competency, focusing on that vis-a-vis overall, see, coaching as a whole probably is more than the sum of its parts, isn't it?
Yes.
When you dissect it with the competencies here and there. So, how do you look at it?
So, could you just reframe that question, PK, for me?
See, the competencies, for example, four, or even going further, 4.4, 4.1, 4.2, or competency 5. So there are webinars, there are focused sessions on particular competencies,
Yes.
with different chapters, and ICF also conducts. But coaching as a whole looks to be more than the sum of its parts, isn't it? I mean, when you
Yes.
dissect it competency wise, would it add up to as much as what a coaching conversation as a whole measures?
Okay, so if your intent is whether these competencies will show up in a coaching conversation,
Yeah, would that total up to the total impact of coaching as a whole? So, how do you keep it in perspective, or how do you look at it? Is
yes.
it a sum total of different competencies being demonstrated, or is coaching well is something beyond that?
Yeah, so one is of course at a default level, it is also about the competencies. So
Okay.
the expectation is that you are able to demonstrate the competencies, but it is quite
Hmm.
possible that sometimes in some conversations, some of those competencies may not have an opportunity to be, let's say, noticed or assessed, for example,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is that in some way, shape, or form, they will show up.
Ah.
And as a coach, are we therefore being available to that possibility where we have so imbibed the coaching competencies that they
Mm-hmm.
become a part of who you are and they show up in the coaching conversation in a very seamless, in a very, what shall I say, conversational manner? So that to the untrained eye, it might look like the conversation between two good friends, but you,
Ah.
as a trained coach, know exactly where you are, even as you are staying present and managing the conversation.
Beautiful. So, which means that somebody who is searching for competencies might not find them exactly the way it is articulated in the
Yes,
marker or in the competencies, but they are present because the
yes,
coach has become a being.
that's right. That's right. And I think a trained assessor will be able to pick up these subtle nuances of
Hmm.
where they are showing up.
Understand. That is mastery, right?
Yes, yes.
Mm. And for commercial success, mastery is one of the key. I mean, it can add a lot of value, is what
Oh,
probably I am
absolutely.
learning.
Absolutely. Because then you're looking at the product, right? Then you're not compromising on the quality of the service that you're offering,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And to ensure that the quality of the service remains unparalleled, you've got to keep servicing yourself
Hmm. Hmm.
in that sense. Continuous learning in different ways, shapes, and forms that as coaches we need to resort to.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, somebody who is in practice, for example, I've been in coaching practice for 11 years now, 11 plus years. Um, to to gain mastery or to continue on the journey to mastery, what is that I should be focusing on?
Yeah. So one, of course, is basically to have a relook at where you are in terms of your own conversation,
Hmm.
right? And coaching conversations. The second is, of course, maybe talking to a mentor coach and finding out, where you stand and having a conversation. Or the third could be even trying to share with the let's say, a mentor coach, for example, the things that you struggle with in a coaching conversation to be more
Yeah.
effective.
Mm.
Right? The
Mm.
fourth is, of course, to look at the competencies, internalize them, and then figure out how you can get them to show up in a coaching conversation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that is good. That is, I think, once we are genuinely looking at our conversations in a very objective manner, like what you just explained in four steps, probably we are on the path in
Yeah.
that sense. Yeah, I think it's a challenge for practicing coaches that once we are certified, there is how to keep up the rigor. That is in a, and you mentioned even that a commercially successful coach also probably need to look at the coaching mastery from time to
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So that being the case,
Yes, because I've had mentees who have come to me and said that, look, I'm very capable. I don't have a problem with getting business, but the coaching may not be up to the mark.
that's a paradox. I mean, how does it manifest in the marketplace then? I mean, is it?
So the way, PK, my sense is that you might become commercially successful either by a combination of your networks, or the marketing that you do, or the kind of perhaps some web platforms that offer you coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they might give you a false sense of security that, hey, I'm okay because I'm getting the business. But
Mm-hmm.
just because you're commercially successful doesn't mean you're a good coach. Similarly, just because you're a good coach doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be commercially successful.
Ah, yeah.
Although if you're a good coach and then take steps to work on the aspect of the business of coaching, chances
Mm-hmm.
are you will then become also a commercially successful coach.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. I think one doesn't guarantee the other in
Correct.
that sense. I mean,
Correct.
being a good coach doesn't mean we
Correct.
can be commercially successful, and one doesn't guarantee the other,
And
like
vice
any other
versa.
profession. Yeah,
Yeah.
and vice versa. And yeah.
Like any other profession. Correct.
Mm. That's why probably the design of Coaching Unlimited that the Regal Unlimited is doing for the last 3 years or so. Equal importance is given to both business of coaching and coaching mastery. The beauty that I see in it is that the coaching mastery is something that we can't take our sight off.
Yeah. Yeah. So in many ways, to my mind, they represent two sides of the same coin, PK.
Hmm.
You need
Hmm.
both.
We
You
need
can't do
both.
one without the other. Or at least you might be able to do it, but it's not sustainable in the long term.
Not sustainable in the long term. And there, the example that you started with, that is Apple,
Yeah.
who just do marketing as well, and then the product also is one of the best
Yes.
that you
Yes.
can get in the market.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we talk about mastery in coaching, in your experience, John, how a client experiences it?
Mhm. That's a very good question, PK. One is, of course, to set the objective and make sure that the client knows exactly what coaching is, so there are no
Mhm.
surprises. And once clients accept that fact and are willing to go deeper, then it's really that conversation. It's really embodying all those competencies to a state where you are completely with the client in a space that is present, where you're non judgmental, where you are walking with the client with no arrogance, no intellectual arrogance of any sort, right? But and where the client feels that you're there literally every step of the way, that they know that you're completely present with them, body, soul, mind, and spirit. And when and clients can sense when you are distracted,
Ah.
but clients can also sense when you're completely there for them. And that's what enables the coaching process to unfold for our
Mhm,
clients.
mhm, mhm.
That's when they experience their mastery.
So that is how a client might experience the benefit of coaching to the fullest sense.
Yes, yes. And even here, I must share some coach golfing examples.
Uh-huh.
I know some golf coaches who appear distracted when they are coaching somebody, or they might engage in side conversations with people walking by. But I know
Mm-hmm.
some coaches who, for that 30 minutes or 60 minutes, will give you their complete attention. They will not look elsewhere. They will not even make eye contact with other people. They are just with you, and you realize they are there for you. That makes a lot of difference. So if that is the kind of difference that something as simple as a golf coach can make, can you imagine
Mm.
the kind of impact a business or a leadership or a life coach can make in the life of their clients.
Absolutely.
And we owe it to our clients, to be there and to have them experience that mastery in coaching.
Absolutely. I think it in a word of mouth or in some way, it is definitely going to lead to commercial success. If you are getting the other bit also, not
Correct.
wrong.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. You shouldn't. You should just be there on the business of coaching, provided your coaching mastery can take you through with the best
Yes.
product. Is the best marketing
Yes.
for a product. Yeah. There are some comments here. As a coach, if you are not able to, Vivek is saying, as a coach, if you are not able to provide value for your clients, all the marketing that you do will fall flat. Yeah.
Eventually, yes. Yes.
Mm,
True.
yeah. Subhash is
True.
saying Apple products are a good metaphor.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a necessary condition, may not be a sufficient condition.
Yeah. Okay. I don't find any questions here. Viewers, if you have any questions, we are in the last minute. Probably we are slightly over time actually. Didn't realize how the time flies, John, when I sit with you. Set the expectations with the client. Let the client know what coaching is. Yeah, Vivek is saying that as an important takeaway, probably. Vivek is saying be present, non judgmental, walk with the client. This will give the sense to your client about your coaching mastery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any parting comments on achieving coaching mastery? How important is it for a coach to do a business of coaching, John?
Yeah. So, like we started off by saying that, that it's about the quality, right? In
Ah,
many ways, that it's a representation of the quality.
mm,
And if a coach is willing to put in that effort to constantly up their skills,
mhm.
they are working to improve the quality of the offerings that they are making to their clients. And that by itself can then lead to referral business, for example,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Or the fact that the interactions have been so good that they are willing to either their companies, like I've been doing work for a pharma company, and the managing director keeps calling me and giving me clients because they realize the benefit that they got with the first coaching.
Mm, mm.
So therefore we need to constantly keep working on ourselves to become the best that we can, so that we can be in a position to give the best we can to our clients. And
Beautiful.
our hope is that in so doing, that we will also be commercially successful.
Beautiful, John. I think it's upon us to become the best coach that I can be so that my clients get the best experience with me when they are, in a coaching relationship. So fantastic. Thank you for that. And Regal Unlimited is coming up with the sixth edition of Coaching Unlimited, which also gets 38 CCUs for renewal, as John mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So feel free to connect with Regal for registrations. This is on November 14th to 17th. As John mentioned, like two sides of the coin, there is coaching mastery focus and business of coaching focus, 2 days each over these 4 days. So welcome for that. And John, as usual, it was very insightful and from the heart of a practicing coach. So
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for being
Thank you.
here and good night, viewers. See you.
Thank you.